Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel and this is Shashikant. I am working as a Salesforce developer and today's agenda is we will talk about LWC lifecycle hooks. Okay, so you might have seen some document over the internet where you can find the about the lifecycle hooks, but today I will like run one LWC component where I have mentioned all the lifecycle hooks. You can see I have mentioned the constructor, connected callback, rendered callback, disconnected callback, and error callback. And in the HTML part, I am calling child from the parent component. And this is my child component where I have created date type variable and which I am using in the HTML file. Okay, so let's begin. Okay. So I will refresh this page and this is my parent component and this is my child component. Okay. And I am logging all the lifecycle hooks one by one. Okay. So I am refreshing the page and we will see first the parent constructor runs and I am assigning some value to the variable. Okay, and then constructor ends, then connected callback runs, then connected callback ends. After after the connected callback, the render is running. Why the render is running? Because in the constructor, we are assigning some value to the variable which I am using in the HTML file in the parent component for the showing the child component. Okay. So if we will not update this variable's value, and we can say if the variable is not being used in the HTML file, then this render will not run. Okay, then the parent rendered callback will not run too if we will not use any variable which is being updated in the JS file and used in the HTML one. Okay, so first the constructor will run. In the constructor, we can assign some values to some variable. Okay, and in the connected callback, we can call the imperative apex for fetching the data through apex. Okay, then if we are going to update any variable which we are using in HTML file, then first the parent render will run and we are calling from parent to child. Then in the rendering phase, like while creating DOM, it will call the child component, then child constructor will run first, then connected callback run, then the and one more thing, like you might have heard about the error callback. How error callback will run? Error callback will capture the error occurred in the lifecycle hook. Okay, so if you are using the parent component, then if any error occurred, then it will not got captured by the error callback, because error callback only capture the child's component error. Okay, in the parent error callback if it is not handled by try and catch block. Okay, in the connected callback, I am throwing some errors. You can see here I am throwing some errors in the child component and I am calling this child from the parent component. That's why and I haven't used try and cache here. That's why it is showing the error. Then the parent error callback runs and it captures the error with the stack value. Okay, then error callback ends and child render is running because we have used the date variable in the child HTML file. Okay, where we are showing the today's date and time. Okay, that's why child render is running. And once the child render is finished, then the child render callback run again on the parent component. After the parent rendered callback run, and in the child component the same thing. After the render callback, the child rendered callback run, because the render function will create and do some modification in the DOM, and once the updated DOM is ready, then it will run the rendered callback as per the updated value. Okay, so you can run some logic in the rendered callback based on some variables value. Okay, so Why we use render? Okay, so as we know, in constructor we can assign some value to the variables, and in the connected callback we can we can call the imperative apex. And why we use the render? If we will not use the render, as you can see in my LWC component, I am using three HTML files. Okay, so if I will not use the render function, okay, in the render function, based on some values, I am returning the template 1 or template 2. Okay, if I will not use the render function, then it will return the default HTML file. If we wanna dynamically show some epics like HTML file in the LWC component, then we will use render. Otherwise, it will show the by default HTML file which has been created by the LWC component. Okay, once the once the render is done, then the rendered callback will run based on the updated value. It will again update the HTML file. Okay, and same thing applies on the child component. You can see there. Okay, and let's talk about disconnected callback. When the disconnected callback runs, okay, when the connected callback run, when the parent inserted into the DOM. Okay, DOM is a document object model and which creates the LWC HTML file into the tree structure format. Okay, and when the disconnected will run when the components got removed from the DOM. Suppose I am using this submit button. If I will click on this button, then I will be moved to the home page and the child component got removed from the DOM. Okay, so let me click on submit button. And here you can see I am clicking the submit button. Then the parent render is running, and in the parent render component, I am using a variable. Based on variable, I am showing the template 1 or template 2. After this, child. Okay, the child component removed from the DOM and the child disconnected callback runs. After that, after running the child disconnected callback, it is running the parent rendered callback again, because once the parent render will run, then again the parent rendered callback will be always run. Okay, by default, it is by default. And if this will not run, then this will not run. Why this runs? Because in the handle click function, let me show you. In the handle click function, I am assigning some value to this flag variable, which I am using in the HTML file, this flag. That's why the render is running. And based on this value, true value, I am showing the child component, and now the value is false. Then the child component is removed from the DOM, and the parent rendered runs after the parents render callback runs after the parent render is parent once the parent render is done. Okay, so the error callback cannot the error callback cannot cache the error occurred in the parent component. It will cache only those error which can be occurred in the related component in the child components. The same method will go for the DOM. Once the component removed from the DOM, only then the disconnected callback runs. It cannot run by default just like this, the constructor connected callback render and some like a rendered callback. So I have created this documentation how it will work. First, the constructor called on the parent component, then you can update some variables value here, then parent inserted into the DOM, then connected callback run on the parent, then parent rendered. Okay, once if we are calling parent to child, then it will call the child component over here. Then it will then the child constructor will run. Again, the same thing. Child will insert it into the DOM, and child connected callback will run. Again, the child will render if we are using any variable if we are manipulating any variable which we are using in the HTML file, again, once the render is done, then the rendered callback will trigger by default. Okay, then the error, if is there any error, then error callback, parent error callback will run by default. Okay, once once if we will try to remove the child component from the DOM, then the first the disconnected callback runs from the parent, then the child component like disconnected callback will run, and the error callback will run on the parent. Okay, this is the life cycle hooks. And one more thing, you can use the multiple HTML templates in the LWC component, and based on your logic you can show over the record page or home page, wherever you wanna add your LWC component. And for if you have created multiple HTML template, then first you have to import your template. Okay, like import give the variable name, and from then the template name and dot HTML. Through this we can import the templates, and in the rendered callback we can manipulate, and we can show the template based on few conditions. Okay, and let me know if you have any queries. Please post your comments over the video. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much.